Look, I just got the letter on Friday and I didn't know how to tell you.
Hey everybody, Fretaws here and welcome to this Photoshop video. It's about composition for architectural visualization or ArchViz, whatever you call it. Some of you might be familiar with the term because I remember talking about this topic in Cities Skylines videos about the realism and all the small details that bring up together a nice image. And I thought since I can't really play, or I haven't been able to play the game that much lately because I've been really busy doing these kind of things, and yeah, I thought, well, why not upload a video about this in a form of a time-lapse and explain just a little bit of what's going on, because it's hard to understand because everything is moving so fast. If you're familiar with Photoshop and familiar with the process, then it's not gonna be hard to understand what I'm doing. But for those of you who don't know about these kind of things, it might be really difficult to keep up. But at the moment, as you saw earlier in this video, I was drawing some really rough sketches that was to give me an idea of what I wanted in this image. So you have to draw a little bit to have a sense of scale as well, and what kind of items you want on the scene. And once you have that idea really done, you can proceed into bringing the images you are interested in, or you think they might work. Some of these images will not work, that's for sure. Not everything you put in here is gonna work, so it's pretty much trial and error, and having a good eye on what kind of things, depending on the picture you are putting inside this file. Having a good eye also helps, so you really have to train your eye into looking everything as a composition. So I try to always look at this as a drawing. Pretty much all you do here is basically drawing is pretty much it. You are bringing elements that will help on your drawing, make things easier, and it might seem complicated at first sight, but it really isn't complicated at all. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the process. So as you can see here, I'm removing the background from this flower pot, which is gonna be the central piece for the dining table. So what you have to do here is just bring the image where you have the element you are interested in, and then you remove the background. That can be done with any technique you really want to use. There are a lot of different ways to remove the backgrounds. Some are quick, some are slower, some are medium, you know. So it's all about how much detail you want in these cutouts. So at the moment I'm really just creating a layer mask, and then I paint the areas I'm not interested in, so they are hidden from the final image, and after that I move them into the place where I want them to be, and then I proceed to create these shadows, which can also be done in a lot of ways. And now you can see that I'm switching between black and white. I do this to have a controls over the levels, and as you can see, I'm adding a little bit of contrast on the furniture, and now they actually seem to be there. Before they had no presence. It's because the levels on these foreground elements were too low. they were gray, whites. You really want, when you put your image into black and white, you really want your foreground elements to be darker, to have more contrast. And the elements that are far away from the camera, on the background, you want them to be more gray, more white. So that is something to think about. Here I am making a little bit of a reflection, so it doesn't really have to be that precise. It's just there to give an idea that the floor, it has some kind of reflection, and also adding a little bit of lamps. I thought this lamp was looking really cool, and it really pops out when you look at the image as a whole. You can see that thing over there catches your eye. So it's those small kind of things that really create an atmosphere. You kind of want to tell a story, and you want to kind of guide the eyes of the viewer into the image and understand it better. However, I must say that this angle, it's a little bit of a challenge. At the end, I wanted to change the angle, but the client didn't want to change it. He wanted everything the way you're looking at it right now. Like, the camera angle is too wide. He wanted the dining room and the living room to be on the same scene, and it's not the best thing to do, because you lose focus on things. If it was for me, I would have chosen an image for the living room and then another image for the dining room, and then you have the focus on each one, so there is not any conflict in that. So I was a little bit troubled by the angle, and I really struggled a lot trying to make this work. You can see I'm also adding some people, which is one of the least things that I like to do when I am doing this kind of things. As you can see, this image of that person on the sofa didn't actually work. I was messing up with the levels, and at the end it didn't work because he had the sun right in front of his face. And for an indoors image, you don't really want that kind of lining on your dummies, on your people. So I had to delete it, and then I chose this old person here, which also got me troubled because he has the sun on his face as well, but it's not that bad as the other one. So I went with the idea, well, there's a lot of light incoming, coming from the window, so let's see if this works. At the end, it didn't really work, but I left it there. I don't know, for whatever reason. I think I forgot to remove it, but I think the reason why I didn't mess up with that again was because I didn't really had a person who could stand over there, because I don't really have a lot of cut out images that is people sitting on, somewhere. So it was really tough. Anyways, I'm also adding a little bit of blur in these two girls we got on the right, because when you add a little bit of blur, you have that sense of they are actually there. They are like interacting with each other. So it's a nice thing to have. So here I am adding a little bit of these spots, which now that I'm looking at them, I think they might not have been the best choice, but yeah, these are some things that you notice after you finish your image, after you rest your eyes. You can see your own mistakes, so it's always a good thing to do when you are working in this kind of things. Always have your scene ready and then take a break and maybe come back at it tomorrow, and then you can fix things that you might have messed up. And I'm also looking at the image now, and I think I forgot to put some curtains on the dining room. But thing is, yeah, when you are focusing too much into these kind of things, you tend to forget about the general composition. So what you really want to create here is an atmosphere, and as you can see, I have all the elements and I don't really feel the atmosphere, so I decided to increase the contrast, adding these blacks, these shadows, really strong shadows, to kind of have that atmosphere that I wanted. And I think at the end of the day, it was the good choice, it was the right decision to do, because it was really still looking bland, a little bit washed out, but I think these strong shadows fixed that issue. And here I'm just adding a little bit of more details in the shadows and some lights, fixing the contrast, adding some color balance to have these different tones, cools or warms, and that is pretty much it. So this is it for Photoshop YouTube video, interior composition, etc. So hope you have enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you in the next one. So that is it, and thanks again for watching.